What is up, fellow weekenders, and welcome to another episode of Weekender Garage. On last week's episode, we got the fenders rolled on the DRIFT Miata, so now we don't rub anymore while drifting, and we also got this motor cleaned up that we got out of the parts Civic Si that we picked up, which we've already gotten rid of, and we stripped, which is all that stuff right there that hopefully we can sell and use that money back into the channel. So today, we're going to be upgrading the cooling system in the DRIFT Miata, which I mentioned before. My buddy Cameron has upgraded his with some SPAL fans, and he also has a coil radiator and a bunch of other fancy parts, but his cooling is dialed in. So I got the exact same stuff he has. So we're gonna throw it in here, and this should be a perfect seat time car after that. We shouldn't have to go off the track because overheating issues or anything like that. So let's go over the parts we got, and then let's dive into putting them on the Miata. So to start off with, I've got the Flyin Miata coil radiator, which has the outlet moved to this left side here, which back over here on my car, you can see they normally come right here. On the Koyo, it's gonna be right here, so it's a straight shot for the reroute. You can see where I've kind of got that modified so it's not in the way of this and it looks ugly, but it worked. I also got their fancy fan shroud, which should house both of our SPAL fans that we bought. So we got two SPAL fans, one's a 30 and one's a 60 amp. The 60 amp pushes about 1800 CFM and the 30 amp pushes about 1600 CFM. With both of those running, it should cool this car down like that. And we should only have one running the whole time and the other one's just a secondary for when it is getting pretty hot. Then I also went ahead and bought Flyin Miata's rear out hose just in case mine's long enough, because I ended up cutting mine when I did this little modification. This was in the packaging for the radiator, just some hosing for the overflow, and then I got the plugs for each fan, the terminals that go inside those plugs on the wires, and then we got the 12 gauge wire that's going to be used for the power, and then I think this is 16 gauge, which should be our signal wire. And then I've got some relays, which I'm missing a relay right now. I had just ordered it, but this is a 30 or 40 amp relay, which should be good for one of them. I just ordered a 80-60 relay, and then we should be good for wiring up these fans. Also, if you remember in my last video, I mentioned about making a switch panel, so I went ahead and grabbed this metal just in case we go to that. Don't think we'll begin to do the mirrors. So I will try to put all this in the description in case you want to do this to your Miata or your drift car or autocross car or whatever, because at the end of the day, if your car is overheating at the track, you're not having a good time. So cooling is definitely a needed upgrade for these cars. So let's dive into it. Let's get all this stuff put on this car.
Start it up.
Got the car all jacked up. Now we need to get that out of there. Alright, got that out. This thing is a pain in the ass to get out because of those little humps right there. And that little hump. Because you can't pull it past that. So, if you get a Ioniq radiator, just be aware it is a pain in the ass to get in and out unless it comes from the bottom, and then you got to remove all the stuff right here, like your intercooler piping and whatnot. So, don't recommend that. So now we need to weld this bracket back together. As you can see, there's a crack, and this whole bracket is breaking apart. So, I'm gonna try to weld this back up. It's aluminum. I should be able to do this because it looks like it's nicer aluminum. It's not Chinese crap, hopefully. But we'll find out, so let's try it. Okay. Well, we got it welded. I'm still learning, but I figured I'll start adding this stuff in here so y'all can see me progress. But it's strong enough. It doesn't flex. On this side you can kind of see the brake, but I don't want to weld this side because I need it to be flat to sit against the radiator. But I think I melted it enough. We should be strong. So let's get that back in there. So let's grab it, and so we got it in there, fitting right. Fix that bracket right there. Now our next issue is this. So my old setup used to curve this way and then would like sit on the fan shroud and would barely have clearance between it and the belts, but now we can't do that. So off camera, I've taken the throttle body already off, and I took the idle air control valve out because the idle air control valve sets like this, and these two ports make it to where we can't run this straight down like I am right now. So this is the final layout for the intercooler piping. Also got the fans mounted, which this shroud does not work with these fans at all. I mean, it works enough, but I would not get this shroud. I would just make my own, which we're gonna have to end up doing later on. But for now, it should work. But since I took the idle air control valve off, I have this open port here, and then there is a port. There's a port right there, which I have a hose clamp on, which I've already ran. It used to go here, and then into the idle air control valve, and then back out, and that's the oil cooler back there. So for now, I'm just gonna route straight to it. I don't know if I'm gonna get rid of it. I think Cody has his removed, and then Cam has like a 1.6 throttle body, which I have control valve swore on the side, doesn't have to worry about it. So now, I need to make a blocking plate for this. My plan is to use the plate that we bought for the panel, which we still should have enough left. Kind of trace it out, and then cut it. Then it should just sit right up in there. There already is an O-ring here, and I'm pretty sure I replaced that when I did this whole motor a long time ago, so we should be good there. I also had to do this right here, which seals off this whole area for the fans, and I still need to go get some kind of bolt to finish bolting this down. As you can see, there's a little gap. But besides that, I think we're getting pretty close to the wiring job, so let's make that block off plate and hurry up to the wiring. Fits up pretty nice. Pretty happy with it for the quick job that I did. So let's get that bolted back up, get thrown back on here, and then we can finish up this piping hopefully, and then start on the wiring. So finally moving on to the wiring, I just cut off this plug here, which is this for reference. This was the power plug for the radiator fan, which I think is this one on the stock car. I think this is the condenser fan. But anyways, so I'm going to use this to power the coil on the relay. I'm pretty sure this comes from a relay already. I don't feel like sourcing it down, so we're going to use a relay to control a relay. Then I've got to get power from the alternator post right there. So I'm going to bring it over here and put it on one side of the contact, and then bring another one over to one of these plugs. So the plan is to have this big fan controlled by the ECU. It's going to be the primary, and then this one, which later on I'll get wired up to the ECU, but for now it'll just be on a switch. This will be our secondary. So this will stay on most of the time, and then if we reach over a certain temp, when I notice, probably setting in line after drifting, cut this on, cool it back down, and we should be good. With both these on, it does drain pretty bad, so I don't want them both on when I'm drifting, hopefully. So this dude should keep up, and this one should just be a nice little secondary. So with all that being said, we're going to wire this one up first, get all of this going right, and then we'll do this one to a switch panel in there. So let's continue on this wiring, extend it up here, which I think I'm going to put the relay over here in this little location where there's other relays, and then oh, I've already got it over here right there, and then run the harness, make it look all pretty, and then we'll do this side when we get to it. So let's continue on this one. So it's time to finally test this fan, make sure I wired it all up. Got all my connections here crimped. I went ahead and put the relay, mounted it, and then I got my ground right there. Then I also am coming off the alternator post right there. And I got it running up under here, hidden. And I got this harness tied into the other harness where we grabbed the trigger from. So, connected the battery back, which I didn't mention. If you ever do any wiring, disconnect your battery first, or you'll have a bad time. So let's test our radiator output, radiator fan, I mean. All right, let's enable this. And it should be our output too. So let's get out of the car. Got my keyboard. Let's see if it cuts on. Woo, baby. And that thing is blowing. Hell yeah. Let's cut it off before it drains the battery. Hell yeah. That thing is still spinning. Sheesh. I think it's going the right way. Now we need to wire up this side to the switch panel, which we'll have to do the same thing, come off that post, grab a ground, go inside the car, and then we'll have to make a switch panel, and also we're gonna throw the digital dash on that too. So let's jump to that. In the last video I said I wasn't gonna procrastinate, but here I am, 3:30, and I'm still not done. We got this side wired, put the relay here, also got the switch panel made, which took forever. Show you why. So these are the switches I have, and they are a pain to cut this shape in metal because they're so tiny. I don't have like the right tools. For now, they're all wiggly, but they stick in there enough. Then I tried to cut this, and I guess I'm gonna need a mounting bracket for the back side. But all of it's wired up. That works for this, which, like I said, the boot up time takes forever. But while we wait for that, the fan works as well. So that's cool. And as you see, it's booting up. So, and I'll turn it off. Yay! So in the meantime, I have cleaned up for like the third time now. Kind of helps me stay on task. I got the radiator hose replaced. Now I need to get the intercooler piping finished. And since we did a new route, I need to put another reference hose for this, which is my wastegate. Thankfully I have a spare one of these, so that's good. But I don't know if I have any more of this because it's not long enough now. So this might be our hindrance. When we get this marked up, weld that barb on there, get all the intercooler piping ready to go, put some radiator fluid in it, and then make this the last final piece. So let's get that marked up, get it off, and then get it welded. All right, I think we are good to go. I'm letting it warm up now, bleed it and whatnot, and see if there's any leaks, which from right now, I don't see any under the car. Also, check out my new light. I got this thing, it was like 60 bucks at Home Depot. Probably the best little purchase I've gotten. I kind of want the one that does the whole hood, but I mean, that's plenty of light. So Gonna let this warm up, make sure there's no leaks, maybe do a little test drive. We still need to mount some tires, and then I need some sleep, so be right back. Well, I forgot to grab the camera, but everything bled out. It didn't overheat on the drive. So with the big fan on, the car still drove pretty good. So I think we are good for today at National Super Speedway. I did have some weird, like, I wasn't building boost. Checked all my couplers, everything seems tight, so don't know what that was about, so I have to keep an eye on that. But other than that, I think we're good to go. I got to dial in the idle some since we don't have the idler control valve anymore. So no big deal, still runs good. Last thing before I hopefully take a nap, we got a good set of tires on the car, and then I gotta do one last job. If you didn't know, I have my own tire machine. It is an ancient Coates machine, all manual, other than, like, I mean, it breaks the bead, but other than that, there's no, like, there's no turning of the tire or anything. So I'm gonna throw these tires on the rims that I haven't even gotten out yet because my mind's all over the place. But yeah, get that done. I guess I'll see you at the track or whenever I wake up. Well, it looks like I finally have fell victim to the KBD rear bumper falling off. It's not too bad. I'm more disappointed about that part, but at the end of the day, it's a drift car, so there's nothing too bad about this. It still looks good on the car driving. So it's the end of the day here at NSS, and everything went pretty good. The cooling system did amazing. So after one lap, I'll probably hit about 206 to 208, and then coming to the start line, be 195, ready to go. And I would just run back to back. Not that many people showed up today, so we got tons of runs. So pretty happy. Still dialing in the car. I need to take the camber out of the rear. I need to take the camber out of the rear because I feel like I don't have enough grip. Also, I think I'm just rusty, so I'm trying not to point fingers at the car because it's probably me too. But regardless, cooling upgrade was worth it. Staying up, it was worth it because I got a lot of seat time today. We're the last people here, as you can tell. Everyone's bounced, which was cool because there's even more seat time. So I ended up running out of gas. I really need to get a gas can so I can start filling this up because it seems to be a common issue even at Clarksville. I'll start running out of gas. So, but with all that being said, that's the end of it. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment. I'll see you in the next one.